whatever you're doing, I'd start with an outline shape using your charcoal carefully. Now, I have the advantage of having one of these pencil rubbers, and it's very good for doing awkward little shapes. And I appreciate that maybe you won't all have one of these. I know Sel's got them. I'm not sure if Prue has. If you haven't, then you've got to take your rubber, and this is a very small piece, and I can get a reasonably sharp edge on it by cleaning it up a bit, and it will allow me to get into small shapes just the same as the other thing does. Now, that's one thing, all right? So you draw the outline of whatever the shapes are that you've got in front of you, and be very careful about, like, if I was going to do another leaf next to it, I begin to start to draw the outline shape of it. I'm looking at the space between those two shapes, the negative space, in other words. And often it's useful to, look at that negative space, because it then helps you to decide where the edge should be. Because I found earlier on, in fact, that edge should come over a bit. It's too far back. So, by looking at the space between, I can judge where really this leaf should come round. And then, of course, I have to adjust that edge as well at the same time. So rather than just getting hooked on the one shape, the one shape that you're drawing, really look and see how it relates to the shape next to it. And that's often very helpful, especially with something that's complex, i.e. possibly like yours, Chris. You've got quite a complex plant. The other thing, of course, is that you want to get a sense of some of the leaves. Like in my case, some of the leaves are actually coming towards me like these, and some are actually on their side, and some are hanging down. There's a variety of position of these leaves. And again, that requires careful observation. All right. So I don't worry about putting tone or texture or any of that sort of stuff in at the beginning. Just get the plant or vase or whatever it is you've chosen to do mapped out on your page. I didn't want to do the bottom of my pot, so and my plant is very tall, hence I've cropped it and had it right on the edge down here, which I wouldn't normally do, but my plant is tall, and I want to get that sense of that, the height of the begonia, and it's going to have a lot of leaves that go right up to the top as well. So because of the size of my board, I've had to come down here at the bottom. And I did say to you, see if you can have some sort of background or consideration of background behind your plant. So it's not just a study of a plant. It has a relationship to something that's behind it. Okay? All right. Would you like to all get going now with your studies? And I think when it comes to 7 o'clock, half an hour, I'm going to ask you to show me what you're doing before we get on to putting the tone in. Or if you move more quickly, then please stop me and ask me, okay? If there's any problem with what you're doing, then please stop me on that as well. Remember that, if you're doing a piece of architecture, I'm just going to go back onto this piece of paper now, you can draw the lines. I think it's permissible to use a ruler for architectural lines, because it's hard and you want it to be reasonably straight and accurate. So do use a ruler if you need to. If I was describing the window here, I did earlier on just get my ruler and I drew in some guidelines. That's the next thing. Okay, so off you go. Is everybody all right? Anybody want to ask anything before I go any further?
Is it all right if we do it on coloured paper?
Coloured paper? Yes. I mean, the paper I'm using is a grey.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
Yes, you don't want to use anything too dark, otherwise your charcoal won't show up on it.
I know.
Okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think the last thing I want to say before I go any further, as you're drawing, make sure you cover the work that you've done with another piece of paper. You put your hand over your drawing and everything will get smudged. So just be careful. I would also recommend that you prop your board up with your piece of paper on it next to whatever you're drawing and take a dispassionate look at what you're doing so that you can see how how well observed the shapes are that you're drawing. It's often very useful to do that because you can get very caught up with what you're doing and miss things when they're sort of flat on the table. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, right. Can you put your charcoal down for a minute? And we'll just go around the room and have a look. I've drawn these leaves in outline. I've more or less drawn most of what I'm going to put in. I mean, I might put one or two more over here. I'm not sure. But there's enough of a challenge with what I've got. So, okay, let's have a look at what people